you looking calm, baby, in spite of the body stretching out your pinstripes. Got so much to tell you, come on inside. Hey. You was MIA from the invite, tryna give me daps with my hands tied. All I wait my way, yeah. Been had me from the start. You've been on my radar for too long. Want you to stay, babe. You'd never say the word. I could give you the world, girl, won't you? Try me, I bet you gon' like it. Lava, yeah, me, in lava, yeah, me, in lava, with me, baby, yeah. In lava, yeah, me, in lava, yeah, me, in lava, with me, baby, yeah. Just me and you tonight. Ain't no other girl hotter than you, girl, you next up. All we gotta do, we could pick up where we left off. Always wanted you, baby, we can be the best us. Oh yeah, yeah. Been around the block, but I'm back cause you the best out. Girl, I know you tired cause the world don't got you stressed out. This is our chance, baby, don't you let it pass us. Come over, yeah. Been had me from the start. You've been on my radar for too long. Want you to stay, babe. You'd never say the word. I could give you the world, girl, won't you? Try me, I bet you gon' like it. Lava, yeah, me, in lava, yeah, me, in lava, with me, baby, yeah. In lava, yeah, me, in lava, yeah, me, in lava, with me, baby, yeah.
take my headphones off. What is going on, guys? I'm sorry to be late. I have, I guess, an interesting. Let me already change my camera position. I like that. I like that. Actually, give me 1 second. I'm gonna turn on the lights. That's what I was missing. I always have this like nightmare that I'm going to start a stream and like I'm gonna be wearing like shorts or something. So it's kind of I'm happy that I took the time to actually get somewhat dressed in here. Maybe I won't show off the pecs today, button up a little bit. But how's everybody doing? So let me see if I can put a marker here. Give me 1 second. I spent the longest time setting up for you guys, and I still like, yeah, it's fine. I'll just put that there, intro. Welcome to another live of the Black Tech Experience. My name is Rami. I am an ex-FANG software engineer. I've worked for companies like Google, Dell, Twitch, and Amazon. And today I have a really special show for you. I'm going to be talking about Grok, looking at NeetCode's new video about LeetCode, and I forget the other topic. What's going on with me? Oh yeah, Apple's new DEI stance. I know I'm late to that, but I did want to talk about it since a lot of you guys really appreciated my takes on diversity and inclusion. Perhaps some of you guys still want to work for a company. I think Apple is a great company. We're going to be exploring their diversity and inclusion stance and maybe some of the harm of diversity and inclusion as well. So without further ado, I think I'm going to go ahead and pull up this reaction video for NeetCode. Unless anybody in the chat has anything, I have it all set up where you guys can just ask me questions. All right. Wonder my dock doesn't even work, but it's fine. Hello. If you guys want to understand how frustrating it is to get a six-figure salary as a software engineer, study LeetCode. This is what we're going to be taking a look at. NeetCode, who is a former Google software engineer, has a video on does he still think that LeetCode is going to be relevant today and in the future. And so you want to know this because LeetCode is the way that somebody maintains their job security. If you're strong at LeetCode, you can go to any tech company that you want. But getting to proficiency, getting to mastery in these things is quite tedious. And the time that you take in order to work on these projects, you could be better spent learning how to actually be a good software engineer. So today we are taking a critical look at what NeetCode says is the future of LeetCode, and we're going to see if we can find a way in order to take control of our careers. Is LeetCode is LeetCode still the way? Let's get into it. So So I'm gonna put my headphones on and make sure nobody's saying anything. Somebody can let me know where you are located at in the chat. I'd appreciate it. But finally got some animations. Put put that on full screen. Watch it all the way to the beginning. Oh, it's on silent.
This style of interview is still growing. If you were in the position of giving me advice, what would you do? Would you really tell me to stop at this point? Hey everyone, it's your boy. I'm back. And so today I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about coding interviews and LeetCode. Why do they still exist? Let's take a look at a tweet. And this is actually a few months old, from October of last year. And I actually saw this from our old friend Clement. I'm not sure if any of you remember that exchange we had a couple years ago. But anyways, the tweet is by, I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I don't want to risk getting it wrong, but he has a pretty big social media following, not only on Twitter, but on other socials as well. He previously was, I believe, like an engineering manager at Uber, and he has honestly a lot more industry experience than I do. So this is what his take was, and he was responding to somebody else's tweet who had, I think, like a legitimate point to some extent. I think this is like an argument that I've briefly talked about a couple times on this channel, and it's an argument that comes up a lot.
Why is everybody still wasting their time trying to learn how to skip ads? Just don't.
Let me just move it. I'm going to turn the ad off. It's funny how they have an ad for ad blockers. And I kept it on mute.
But I assume they have a lot of like experience. And what they say is everybody hates these whiteboard coding tests that people are forced to take in interviews, and for good reason. The main problem is that they tell you absolutely nothing useful. When I'm hiring, I want to hire people who will integrate well with the teams, who have demonstrated their ability to learn, who are creative and show some initiative, who can communicate effectively in code and English. I'm looking for a contributor, not a code monkey. I don't really care if they can pull code out of their heads like a rabbit. That's a learnable skill. Software development is primarily a social activity nowadays, so I'm also screening for soft skills. The whiteboard tests are telling me that you're hiring somebody to work alone in a cave where they'll throw a slab of meat whenever they get hungry. And I think the rest of it is just kind of rambling or yapping. He had a funny phrase.
So if you guys want to know how I feel about this, I think that LeetCode is really bad. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I've been on a job and I have not seen anything LeetCode related. I think your ability to understand problems, your grit, these are things that are way more important. But unfortunately, it's hard to measure for those skills within an interview. You only have 1 hour, right, to prove that you are Google worthy. And so in order to have a fair, just test where nobody can cheat or somebody can show their intelligence, I think LeetCode is the best method of testing people today. But yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I think it's a waste of time. All the hours that I've spent learning how to do LeetCode, sometimes I wish I could have that time back and go back to work on a project, do something more fulfilling, start a business. Those things would have helped me in my career a lot more than understanding how to sort a binary tree or whatever. And so, yeah, it seems like NeetCode is on the opposite side. Let's take a look.
Said right at the end, he said, dump those Mickey Mouse code writing games into the trash where they belong. And the problem I have with like giving my opinion on this is that obviously I have some biases, and I'm going to briefly talk about those. I'm going to talk about other people's biases. I'm going to talk about a few different things, and I'll try to put them into like a coherent video. But the first thing I just want to tell you is LeetCode interviews, as of now, they're actually not decreasing. To my surprise, to my own surprise, LeetCode interviews are still a thing. It's 2025. LeetCode interviews are still a thing. And I'm not just saying that. I swear to you, like, here's some data if you don't believe me. This is public data. If you go to Google Trends and you search for a NeetCode, take a look at the graph. Let me move my camera. But this is public data. I'm not making this up. So you can see here, like, NeetCode's been growing. Back when I left my job at Google, and I think that was when ChatGPT first came out, or at least it first like became popular at the end of 2022. And look what happened. If I had given up, if I had stopped working on NeetCode, which a lot of people told me, like, I can go to some of the comments. People told me, just stop. It's over. LeetCode is dead. You're coping if you keep doing it. And if I had listened to them, I would have stopped here, but I didn't. I just kept going, and things have just been continuing to go. And I'm not saying that this is necessarily going to continue forever, but like GPT-4 came out, still increasing. The newest models that came out, I can't even name what they are. Look, it's still increasing. NeetCode is still growing. This style of interview is still growing. Now, who knows? Maybe this line will completely drop off at some point. At some point, it probably will. Maybe 10 years from now, 5 years, maybe longer, maybe shorter. It's really hard to tell. If you were in the position of giving me advice, what would you do? Would you really tell me to stop at this point? I don't think that would be the strategic move.
Look, you're not actually going to get anything done by...
All right. While that loads, I'm going to talk. So yeah, NeetCode is basically saying that we are... I'm sorry to be multitasking. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to end this. And talking. Yeah. So NeetCode is basically saying that on his way to being an engineer or an entrepreneur and making LeetCode style videos, people told him that he was doing the wrong thing. He was wasting his time, right? He had a 6-figure salary at Google and decided to quit his job and try to find something that was meaningful to him. And he enjoyed making these LeetCode problems. I'm not going to say that's just bad, right? Enjoying LeetCode is something that I think is a sign of a great engineer. However, what he's trying to say is that since the growth of his channel just keeps going up over time, this is a sign that LeetCode is still going to be used in interviews for the future. And I don't know, it's hard to say. Like, one would surmise that with all the online cheating and access to AI tutors, that NeetCode will go down. But what we've seen is his channel just continues to keep growing. He teaches. And yeah, you guys need to think about it. In the past, like, people had no access to these questions. They came up with these hard questions and they asked them for years. And now we're seeing that the interviewing questions for Facebook and Google are being exploited online. And so it's harder and harder to actually tell who is a seasoned candidate and who is just a well-read candidate. And so I don't know. It's like a fight between, should you be able to study? If people have no way to study for these tests, you have to be some hyper elite guy who just codes in his free time for fun in order to pass them. Or you've come from a family where you have been trained by tutors to be in math Olympiads. But if you're somebody like me whose father and parents were not into computer science and you just got into it because you wanted job opportunities, there's no way you're going to pass a test at Facebook or Google without studying. But yeah, get back into it. Let me just do one more thing. Set up reset. And my bad, guys. I've been setting up talking. Let me just put a There we go. I finally figured it out. All right, we're ready to rock. And
In my opinion, I haven't really seen major signs of it diminishing either. Big companies are still doing this style of interview, as much as many people hate it. And so our other friend here had a very different opinion on this. And so I guess before I give my opinion, let me give this counter opinion as well. Here's the uncomfortable truth. It doesn't matter that whiteboard coding tests or LeetCode don't measure a lot of things a dev needs to do day to day. They are the currently known most economical filter to hire at scale. I'm talking when you hire 100 plus devs per year or 1,000. And obviously in big tech's case, probably over 10,000 a year, easily over 10,000 a year. Hiring is done by people who are devs themselves, and you want to keep a similar bar between different parts of the org. Yes, tasks that simulate day-to-day work give better signal, but they require larger investment, and it's problematic when the question leaks. When you do more than 20 to 30 interviews with the same question, expect it to leak and be Googleable when people search for what your hiring process is. With algorithmic questions, it makes no difference if it leaks.
Hey, it's 2025. Are you still applying for...
Hundreds. A nice side effect for large companies is they self-select for people who are willing to put up with BS things, aka spend considerable amount of time to do something mostly pointless. Prepare for these algorithm interviews just because it's how things work and what it takes to get the job. Those who refuse to do this would likely not be a fit for these environments where these interviews are the first or last things that are process you follow just because. And I'll finish the rest of this, but let me just kind of interject for a bit and say there's very much some truth to that. For example, let's say you're a dev, you have 10 years of industry experience. Maybe it's startup experience, you like moving fast, you like building things, and you don't really care about algorithms or low-level things like that. And now you want to get a job at big tech. Well, let me just tell you, if you're not willing to do 100 LeetCode problems to prepare for the interview to get in, you're really going to hate the job as well, because I don't know how it works at all of the big tech companies, but I'm pretty sure at most of them, a lot of the skills that you have to learn, you do it on the job. And let me tell you, it's really not fun. I don't know who finds changing config files, who likes learning about a lot of like super esoteric knowledge, like in my opinion, just like a completely different way of doing things at like a certain company. They just have a certain way of doing things. And there's a lot of bureaucracy. There's a lot of overhead. There's a lot of like things in the way. And like LeetCode, in my humble opinion, is the least of the problems. I mean, it's a pain in the ass. It's stressful, sure.
I'm going to go ahead and say that oh my gosh, that is crazy. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say that I disagree with that. I do not feel like LeetCode is something that is similar to what we do on the job. I think system design is way closer to what we actually do on a job, where we have to write documents. But as far as like, hey, like you need an hour to solve this binary search tree question, that's not true. Like that does not happen. If you need to sort a binary tree for whatever reason on a job, you would just use the Java tree package, and you would just use the sort package. So it's like, I don't know exactly what he's talking about when he means that LeetCode is close to what you do on the job, because I would say it's complete opposite of what we do. Like very few people write anything from scratch when you're at Google or Amazon or any of the FANG companies. or any startup, you rarely write anything from scratch. You use different libraries and frameworks to achieve a goal. You might have to learn, if you are, let me preface this by saying that I am a full stack engineer. If you are heavy into the back end, then you come up with algorithms, but you still don't try to like come up with the best algorithm, especially right now. Like as time goes on, we are going to need less algorithmic thinking because ChatGPT or these different GPT models will just spit out what is the correct algorithm and the most efficient. So it's like, I'm not seeing his correlation between LeetCode being something effective that you actually do on the job. And so let me put that, and I'm sorry guys, I'm just messing with my settings. Talking. Yeah. Can I see this? I don't know why this thing does that. Okay. Yeah, that was so weird. I pressed a hotkey, but whatever. We're back into it.
That obviously I have some biases, and I'm going to briefly talk about those. I'm going to talk about other people's biases. I'm going to talk about a few different things, and I'll try to put them into like a coherent video. But the first thing I just want to tell you is LeetCode interviews, as of now, they're actually not decreasing. To my surprise, to my own surprise, LeetCode interviews are still a thing. It's 2025. LeetCode interviews are still a thing. And I'm not just saying that. I swear to you, like, here's some data if you don't believe me. This is public data. If you go to Google Trends and you search for a NeetCode, take a look at the graph. Let me move my camera. But this is public data. I'm not making this up. So you can see here, like, NeetCode's been growing. Back when I left my job at Google, and I think that was when ChatGPT first came out, or at least it first like became popular at the end of 2022. And look what happened. If I had given up, if I had stopped working on NeetCode, which a lot of people told me, like, I can go to some of the comments. Look, it's still increasing. NeetCode is still growing. This style and this type of interview has not gone away yet. In my opinion, I haven't really seen.
Oh, my guy said I need to get an ad blocker. Yeah, my bad, guys. Yeah, I probably do need to get an ad blocker.
Seen major signs of it diminishing either. Big companies are still doing this style of interview, as much as many people hate it. And so our other friend here had a very different opinion on this. And so I guess before I give my opinion, let me give this counter opinion as well. Here's the uncomfortable truth. It doesn't matter that whiteboard coding tests or LeetCode don't measure a lot of things a dev needs to do day to day. They are the currently known most economic process you follow just because. And I'll finish the rest of this, but let me just kind of interject for a bit and say there's very much some truth to that. For example, let's say you're a dev, you have 10 years of industry experience. Maybe it's startup experience, you like doing things at like a certain...
My bad. I don't even know where we got lost. I feel like we've already listened to some of this. I'm going to put a note for myself, re-listening.
Certain company, they just have a certain way of doing things, and there's a lot of bureaucracy, there's a lot of overhead, there's a lot of like things in the way, and like LeetCode, in my humble opinion, is the least of the problems. I mean, it's a pain in the ass, it's stressful, sure, but the job, even though it's quite different than the interview, there's still like plenty of things wrong with the job as well. But anyways, and make no mistake, these places screen for soft skills, teamwork, etc. These are done via recruiter screen, hiring manager interviews, to some extent architecture and bar raiser. Very good point. Obviously, the coding interview isn't just done like, it's not like exactly an online assessment. It's not exactly a standardized test that people just take, pass or fail, and then just get in. There's a lot more involved in that, and that's those are some of the things that I actually struggled with when I was trying to get hired. But to finish this, the coding interview is usually 1 or 2 out of 5 to 6 interviews. And the coding part is usually the most trivial to pass for anyone putting in the effort to prep. See the point on putting up with the most pointless stuff the job asks for. The problem is not that big tech uses these hiring processes. It makes perfect sense for them. It's when small companies hiring 5 to 10 people per year copy it without thinking. More on how to build a sensible hiring process without blindly copying it. And he links to his newsletter, which I would recommend people checking out. Like, he's a good content creator. I think he's one of the good ones. Very like genuine person. He makes a couple more points in the replies. He wouldn't be surprised if like in-person interviews come back, because there actually has been a lot more people cheating lately. It's gotten a lot easier to do that. But it was honestly always pretty easy to cheat. People did it a lot more than you think, and some people even admitted to doing it. So I'm not trying to like a snitch or anything, but there's this video, and it's a public video. It's like 6 years old now, from old school YouTuber Joma. And
oh, that's what it is. Okay, I'm sorry. It's like, oh.
Get a final expert.
Oh my God. And an ad came up. All right, let me take a second. And turn it off. Yeah, I do need an ad blocker, right? Somebody put one in the chat. Bruh. I can't figure out where we were last. So let me take a moment just to talk about on cheating. You block origins. So there you have it. NeetCode has talked about cheating in these exams. And can you imagine, like, I want you guys to think about how many people you saw cheating in college, in high school. Well, those are the same number of people who are cheating on these exams to get 200K. And so it's like, I thought in my life that honesty and working hard would always allow me to like be successful. But what I have found within these tests is they have become so convoluted. Like, you would think if you passed your meta interview that you would just be a shoo-in for every company. But every company has a different style of interview. Just because you can pass the test at Google does not mean you can pass the test at Block, is what I'm saying. And so this is one of the reasons why I've decided to start working on my own company, because I don't feel like these skills of grinding LeetCode, it could get worse. You know, instead of, you know, having to sort a binary tree in like an hour, maybe an LLM will come out with some new random generic problem that'll test your data structures and algorithm skills that you can't find in the test. And then we're going to see that only 1% of candidates are able to pass. And those are the people who are doing LeetCode in their free time, right? And they're using these different AI LLMs to help teach them. And the bar just becomes even higher and higher. I've worked for Amazon and I've worked for these different companies. And what they always say is they want to make the bar even harder than what they had to go through. Like, imagine they went through a version of the Google test, and then 10 years in the future, they're asking you things that are even harder than what they were going through, something that they couldn't even do. And I understand the sentiment, because you want to make your company better. You want to be hiring better and better candidates as time goes on. But I just believe that the way that we're going about this is so convoluted. And yeah, it's not worth my time. I feel like I've been chasing a rabbit that you just couldn't get. And finally, I'm taking control of my career by working on my own app, which is DonorSync. If you want a paying job, you're going to have to learn LeetCode. You're going to have to waste many hours of your life studying these algorithms. And I'm not into it. I really do not like it. And so, or no. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm gonna take a short intermission to see if I can download this uBlock stuff so we can stop watching these ads. I apologize for making you guys wait. uBlock. Oh, somebody said Grok 3 rules so far. I've heard different things. Like, I have not been using it. The inference speed is insane. I remember the last time. Oh, so I do have uBlock installed, but I turned it off for YouTube because, let me see. I don't remember what the reason why. I believe, yeah. It looks like they're cracking down on uBlock Origins. Mixtape Wizard Kelly, like, I don't know. It's uBlock. So I remember what happened to me. Like, I had an ad blocker on YouTube, and like YouTube said, hey, if you don't start watching these ads, we're gonna kick you off the platform. And that's why I turned it off for I turned it off for YouTube. So I would have to, I guess, watch the ads or whatever. But yeah, Frozen King, I'm sure you have. It's trendy to have a on Elon. It's trendy to hate on Elon right now, so naturally they're shitting on this. My guy said, I wish I could have that. Let me see. Hey, my bad, my bad. I'm so sorry. My bad. Thank you, Frozen Kingdom. What I was saying is that I forget. I don't know where you heard me, but I was talking about Elon Musk, and I don't think I've heard. Okay, so I didn't buy Grok 3, and that's because I don't think it's going to be as good as Claude and ChatGPT. But one thing that I am excited about is Grok 3's voice mode should be coming out next week. And so I'm saving my money for that time. And thank you, Frozen Kingdom. I'm saving my money for that time. But yeah, I think, to be honest with you guys, I may not include this. Let me make sure that it's in my notes to cut at this point. But yeah, I think there are a lot of Elon haters, just like what Frozen Kingdom said. He says he has Grok 3 and Claude 2 and Claude 3.5. I have Claude 3.5. I have a Claude subscription and I have a ChatGPT subscription. Wow, Frozen Kingdom is collecting all the the Affinity Stones, man. Maybe he needs to get up on the stream so we can talk, man. But what was I saying? I was saying that there's a lot of people that hate on Elon, and I don't really understand it. Like, when I talk to my friends, they'll be like, Elon's an idiot, Elon's a Nazi, and I'll be like, why do you why do you think this way? And it's like they cannot articulate their points. And I'm like, oh, okay. This is more an emotional. I don't know. It's like, is this emotional or like were you programmed to think this way? But yeah, man, I don't know. Unfortunately, the ad block situation is like, I'll show you what I'm looking at. So yeah, this is uBlock. It's already been installed in my browser and I turned it off. I could try turning it back on, but I think they're going to just say that I have to watch it regardless, or I have to turn it off. And it's kind of funny that plugin is going to be back in. So let me just listen to this for a bit, make sure that we're back on the right.
You think, and some people even admitted to doing it. So I'm.
Yeah, we're at the right spot. So put that back in.
I'm not trying to like a snitch or anything, but there's this video, and it's a public video. It's like 6 years old now, from old school YouTuber Joma. And here's like a 10-second like clip from this video where he was being, you know, pretty brutally honest. That's one of the things I always liked about Joma.
Nice. But I also actually had a call. Does something different. They make you do a coding challenge.
Oh, I didn't have that.
And I just Googled the coding challenge and I found it and I just just fucking copy pasted it and it was totally fine.
Actually,
and
I remember.
Yeah, so I think one of the arguments that people make a lot is everybody is cheating. Like, these interviews suck. Everybody just cheats through the interviews. People say it as if it's a new thing. People say, like, well, with ChatGPT, it can solve all the LeetCode problems. People been cheating. People have been cheating. It's very easy to cheat. Like, there's so many ways to cheat. And it's not like it was hard back then either. Like, you heard what he said. He just Googled it and he found it and that was it. How do you stop something like that? How do you stop leaking? Well, with online assessments, it's practically impossible because those are like fully automated. But once you get to the human phase, it's pretty hard to cheat through that. I'm pretty sure like you could have all the cheating resources available to you. If I was interviewing you, it'd be so obvious because I'm not going to ask you just write a loop. I'm going to ask you like questions to see how deeply you understand the code that you've written. And if you don't understand it, if you can't tell me what would happen if I removed 1 or 2 lines of code, then you don't understand it. And I think that'd be pretty hard for you to ChatGPT through that. So now finally, let me.
So I'm going to talk about that. Oh my God. I always do that. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. And let me put oh no. So there you have it. People cheat. And guess what he was rewarded with when he cheated on that test? A 6-figure salary, right? I think people don't realize how much being cutthroat, lying, and cheating makes you more successful in your career. And I think that's another reason why I don't enjoy like trying to go back into the industries, because I have to deal with these people who take credit for your work and then, you know, like make you work over the weekend, right? And then go into the meeting and present on everything you did. And they'll smile in your face. And so like this is reality of like these super 6-figure jobs, or these super prestigious jobs is behind the scenes. Like people are stealing from each other and not getting the credit that they deserve. This process just seems so convoluted. It's like we're not measuring for your intelligence, your work ethic, your discipline. We're measuring for, can you get the job done in the time allotted? Obviously, we cannot measure for some of the things that I was talking about, but NeetCode, like this just, it feels like to me that everybody in the industry is crazy except me. Like, let me know in the comments, do you think LeetCode is actually a good measurement, or do you feel like you're just going to be willing to put through all this bullshit in order to get a job in the 6-figure? Because that was me. I jumped through those hoops. I got in the doors. I did not like what I saw, and now I'm trying to like start my own startup with these AI tools. But guy said. Like the streamer Asmongold, remember boys, ABC always be cheating because everyone else everybody else do fuck them. Hey, I'm not mad, so fuck them. ABC always be cheating because everyone else do. Bro, and that's like, yeah, bro. I don't know. It's just, it sucks. It sucks to. I didn't cheat through college, and you know, it's crazy to me how long my career took to get off the ground because these guys from UC Berkeley, you know, so much of this career is about your opportunities, man. And I'm so fed up with it. I really feel like my purpose in this world is to provide a community for people who want to learn valuable skills that will actually help other people. My purpose is to create that in this world because I feel like what we do as LeetCode is just so pompous and convoluted. And so I may not be there today, but I really appreciate it if you can like and subscribe and share because this, you know, this is something I'm willing to put my money and my reputation on the line for because I truly believe that this shit exists. I don't think you get into these companies and you think that they are going to be this safe haven for fair, just treatment. All you have to do is work hard. That's all anybody ever wants is just to be able to work hard and get paid for the results that you're able to give to people. But that's not going to happen in corporate. It's going to be results oriented, appearances more than it is about actual results or the value that you create for the company. Company culture is results over the value, even though that sounds, I hope maybe you'll get it one day, but I'm gonna get back into the video.
To do that, we have to answer the age-old question of, does size matter? Specifically, in this case, we are talking about company size. And that's something that people just really seem to ignore with this LeetCode interview argument. And we saw from those two tweets, it's very relevant in my opinion. Sure, if you have a small company, maybe 100 people total, you have a lot more freedom and control over the interview process. But as you scale, as you get more and more people, I guess it's better to differentiate between small and big. Things change. Like, it does matter. The size does matter. It changes the equation. And whatever you say about like the big tech hiring process, so far, it seems to be working. I mean, I don't have any internal data on the companies. Maybe things are changing. Maybe they have certain data that is changing in either direction. But I mean, over the last 10, 15 years, this interview process has created companies worth trillions of dollars. There are legitimate flaws that have been pointed out. There are legitimate flaws in this process. But you could say that about anything. There's flaws with everything. Every software has buggy code. It has bugs. There's problems with every team.
To his point, I think I'm going to go here.
One of the great...
Oh my gosh. To his point, he is correct. NeetCode is correct in the sense that LeetCode has created $1 trillion companies, but at the same time, one might that's the argument against like creativity. Like, could another process have been just as efficient as LeetCode? We don't know. It works well enough. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's just the current culture just screams for so much cheating and so much lone wolf play. And they haven't talked about that, but I think I'm going to end it here. I think in my final notes, if you're somebody that you want to be an indie hacker, you want to be able to use these AI tools to start your own business, I would really appreciate liking and subscribing and sharing, because this is the community that I want to create. I think LeetCode is some bullshit, and although I do enjoy solving problems, I do think that strengthening my mind is good. I do not think that somebody should be able to spend months trying to figure out a problem, and then they sit up and they're like, hey, this is going to be a great LeetCode problem now. It took me a month to figure out, and now I'm going to ask you to do it in an hour. And if you can't do it, it just means that I don't have enough data points to signal that you are a good candidate. But other than that, deuces. Whew. All right, guys. There was more of that video that we could have watched. I just didn't want to watch the entire thing. I don't know. Unless y'all feel like we should go back and watch something, but not a fan. Cheating does size matter? Change is scary. I do kind of want to go back, actually. That's what I would say. I don't know if I'm going to put that up on the screen. Let me just double check. This is something else I want to talk about in this video. Okay. All right. It's fine. All right. Let's watch one more video, and hopefully it won't go as bad or as disorganized as the first one. Let me do one last thing. If you guys have any videos, ideas that you would like me to talk about, I'm fine with that too. I feel like today was kind of light, but it's fine. Refining the process has been challenging. And need to cut. All right. Is DEI good for humanity or bad? If you want to know how Apple feels about it, they're saying that although all these other industries, other companies like Facebook, Google, and others have been saying that we're going to stop our DEI practices and we're going to start doing a more rigorous process based around your skill level, Apple has said, hey, we are doubling down on our DEI efforts. We believe that this is something that is humanity's right, which is to fight for having women, fight for having black people, fight for having transgendered, a place to work and be cohesive, even if that means lowering the bar a bit. And so I wanted to take a look at this, as well as a black Harvard professor. He says he has a video about the dangers of DEI, why it cannot work. And so we're going to take a look at both Apple's stance as well as the more academic, professional stance that's saying that DEI is bad. Let's get into it.
At least one.
Let's turn that down.
Big tech company is pushing back against pressure to roll back policies on diversity, equity, and inclusion, known as DEI. Apple's board is recommending investors reject a proposal to seize DEI efforts at the company. Rebuffing calls to unwind DEI would go against a recent trend seen in tech. Meta announced last week it was immediately ending DEI efforts. They cited the changing legal and policy landscape and said the term was charged. Later, it came out that Amazon was in the process of rolling back some of its diversity and inclusion programs. While the changes at Meta and Amazon have come to light,
I want to take 1 second to say I might have made a mistake in saying that it is Google and Amazon. I mean, not Google. Google might not be a part of the companies that is talking about DEI. So I might reshoot that. But other than that, I'll get back into it.
Since President-elect Donald Trump's election victory, other companies acted prior. Microsoft laid off its DEI team last summer due to changing business needs, according to an internal memo obtained by Business Insider. Google parent Alphabet also downsized its DEI staff. Ahead of Apple's shareholder meeting in February.
Never mind, I was right. I thought I made a mistake, but I was actually correct.
Apple told investors the right-leaning National Center for Public Policy Research is submitting a proposal to end DEI at the world's largest company. The group says it's clear that DEI poses litigation, reputational, and financial risks to companies, and therefore financial risks to their shareholders, and therefore further risks to companies for not abiding by their fiduciary duties. The NCPPR cited the recent Supreme Court case against Harvard. That was the landmark affirmative action case that ruled race-based admissions violate the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. NCPPR argues that if Apple continues its DEI programs, it could open up the company to lawsuits that could reach tens of billions of dollars. Apple's market capitalization is valued at around $3.5 trillion. Apple's board is recommending investors reject this proposal. They say the proposal is unnecessary as Apple already has a well-established compliance program. The proposal also inappropriately attempts to restrict Apple's ability to manage its own ordinary business operations, people and teams, and business strategies. The board said Apple does not discriminate in hiring or promoting on any basis protected by law. They also accused the group of inappropriately seeking to micromanage the company on legal compliance. Apple shareholders will get to vote on this and other proposals at the annual meeting on February 25th. For Straight Arrow News, I'm Simone Del Rosario.
So there you have it. Apple is taking a major stance against the rising tide that DEI is unethical, and it's willing to put up billions of dollars to fight for having a workplace filled with diverse minds. Who knows whether this will be a good decision? I do believe that as time goes on, these new companies these big companies like Facebook are going to have a majority white, male, white, or Asian, the majority tech races all in one spot. And will that mean that they are unable to create creative products like Apple? Apple is a company that is known for its creativity, leading the industry in its creations like the iPhone, the iPod. These were things that people laughed at. When people heard about the iPhone, they didn't think it was anything. And then Apple created this $1 trillion industry. And so let me know in the comments whether you think that diversity and inclusion is a bad idea. But I wanted to look at a professor who has said that he talks about the dangers of diversity and inclusion. And let me put a moment to cut in there. There we go. I'm watching an ad.
Let's imagine that you're applying for a job. You want to be an assistant professor. Or let's suppose that you're seeking a promotion. On many university campuses, you are asked to give a DEI statement in which you say, I plan to, one of the reasons why you should hire me, or one of the reasons why you should promote me, is because I'm going to, advance the DEI ambitions.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion, for people who don't know. This is the general set of programs that most universities now have.
Yes, that's right. So, you've got to sort of, basically what you're being asked to do, whether they say it explicitly or not. They don't say this explicitly, but this is what this is what is up. What you're being asked to do is to say, I'm down with the diversity, equity, and inclusion ethos, program, policy, campaign. And here's what I've done that shows that I'm down with this program, and therefore I'm okay. Well, a lot of what I do would fit very comfortably within that. But let's suppose that I didn't. Just suppose I didn't like this. And by the way, there's certain aspects of the DEI, industry that I don't like. You mean to tell me that, I'm being judged at an academic institution? Let's suppose I want to be a chemist. Let's suppose I want to be a physicist. Let's suppose I want to be, I don't care, a critic of literature. I oppose this program. I don't, I don't think this is the way in which higher education should be going. Should I have to, on pain of relinquishing my ability to be hired, should I have to sign on to this? Just suppose, and let's change it around. Let's not make it a DEI campaign. Let's make it a...
I'm guessing what he's talking about is that people, the woke mentality of like, you have to be a part of DEI or you're evil. I think that's what I dislike too, but I don't know. Let's continue to see where he's going with this.
Make America Great Again campaign. What would we think then? Let's suppose it was something that said, instead of it saying DEI, let's make it say the advancement of American capitalism as we know it. We want you to be down with that. What have you done that shows us that you believe in the advancement of capitalism in America? Would I be happy about? No, I would say this is no. Well, no, with respect to these, as far as I'm concerned, with the DEI statements. Oh, here's another one. I just learned, and in fact, there's certain things that are happening, and I must say, I'm in academia, but it's news to me. I didn't know until relatively recently about positionality statements. So these are statements in which somebody writes an article. Let's suppose, I write an article, and it's not enough for me just to submit my article to some law review or to some other sort of journal. No, in addition to me submitting my article, I've got to give a positionality statement in which I say whether I am, gay or straight or what have you, in which I say my race, in which I say my nationality, in which I say my.
I understand what he's talking about. I remember I was filling out this job application, and it told me, am I an ally of the LGBTQ? And it's like, are you screening me because I don't necessarily... I support everybody's freedom of speech. If you know me, I'm a conservative libertarian, right? But it's just the audacity that I wouldn't be hired, or I don't know. I feel like there's a connotation that if I were to say, like, I don't support, for example, forcing pronouns or whatever, then you won't hire me. I think the world is kind of crazy in that. And obviously, you may want a company of people who align with your political desires, but I see from the stance of Randall, what he's saying is that nobody should be forced to be in DEI, and I agree. Like, if you don't agree with diversity and inclusion, I believe you should have the right to say that with all your with wherever you want. I think you can go to whatever company you want. If you feel like Meta is more aligned with your values of just performance-based hiring, I don't think there should be anything wrong with you as a human being. Just like if somebody wants to be at a company like Apple and they lower the bar for them, they can make it happen. Like, it's a free world, and we should all be able to live by our various different creeds without feeling like we're being judged or attacked. But unfortunately, we live in America with free speech. People have the right to say whatever they want.
Stance toward this ideological position or that ideological position.
Interesting.
What?
Is this becoming a kind of a standard?
I don't know how widespread it is. I know there was a very good article in the New York Times a couple of days ago about these positionality statements. And in fact, that's what sort of tipped me off. Somebody had told me there's a law review at my home institution. And I had a friend who sort of mentioned this offhandedly and who said, well, I submitted an article to this journal and I was a little bit taken aback insofar as they did have me fill out a questionnaire in which I was required to state my race, state this, state that, state the other. And, as far as I'm concerned, well, what does that have to do with a proper assessment of somebody's work? This concerns me. I'm concerned about the fact, a little while ago, you mentioned the word Negro. I was talking with colleagues a couple months ago, and somebody mentioned that this word had come up in their class because what had happened was one student was reading from a Supreme Court decision, and the word Negro was part of what they read out, and another student held up his hand and said to the student who was reading, hey, you should be careful because, I find the word Negro offensive, and you need to be careful about even saying a word that would be offensive to someone. And this person, and then, the teacher was, well, what should I say in those circumstances? What should I have said? And I volunteered, and I said, well, gosh, that's really interesting because see, if that had come up in my class, I would have said, well, frankly, I don't see what I don't even see what the big deal is because I use the word Negro. And,
I use the word Negro as well. I don't think it should be a big idea, especially in class when you read it, but I don't know. It's a nuanced topic, and I'm not going to say that my answer fits all, but yeah.
Harvard University is not on some island that is, apart from everything else that's happening in the world. If these things are happening in other places, if they're happening at Stanford, if they're happening at Yale, if they're happening at Columbia, they're going to happen at Harvard. But thus far, and I am most especially experienced in life at Harvard Law School. Harvard Law School is an open environment in which ideas are tested, and they are tested fully. And it's because of that I say I have been fully supported at Harvard Law School, feel that it is an excellent place in which to do work. I'm a fan. I am a fan, and I'm not embarrassed to say it. I am a fan of my workplace, Harvard Law School. Very happy to be associated with Harvard.
All right. So there you guys have it. The dangers of DEI, the woke mentality, this idea that you have to agree with everything that somebody says, I think is what Randall Kennedy was trying to say. And I agree. Somebody told me on my channel since I've named myself the Black Tech Experience, that he thought my name was racist because it sounded like I was creating this black channel, and if you didn't believe with everything that I agree with, then you must be a racist. And I told the guy, like, hey, like, I understand how you feel because I know some people do exist and they do think like that, but that's not my goal for this channel. You know, I want it to be a place where people are inspired. It's about inspiring, innovating, and breaking down barriers. And so, yeah, it's tough. DEI is a very nuanced topic. I'm really happy that Apple is willing to spend billions in order to continue this tradition of helping minorities have a path into technology. I think, you know, there have been major contributors who have helped products and go on to be great assets to the team because they were given a shot. If you don't think that white people, or let's just say, I won't even call them white people, the majority, if you don't think the majority have ways of getting into companies without necessarily having to work hard, you're wrong. I know a senior software engineer at Twitch, and he did not do any LeetCode to get in. He got it just based off of his connections, right? These opportunities do exist for people. Why don't, you know, my question is, why is it so bad if some black woman is able to get the same level of opportunity that maybe more connected majority people get as well? And with that, I'll end it. But let me know in the comments, am I tripping? You know, am I capping? Am I talking nonsense? But other than that, peace. All right. I don't think anybody is in here right now, which takes a lot of pressure off me to like make an entertaining show, but it's fine. Looks like, I don't know what's going on with this thing. All right, it looks like we have one person in here right now, but I guess I'll just say something in the chat. What's up, guys? Restream. I like seeing myself on the screen. All right, we're gonna look at Grok. Elon Musk says Grok 3 is better than ChatGPT 4, and it's scary good. Is he correct, or is it just AI hype? Let's take a look today. My name is Rami Pruitt. I am a ex-FANG software engineer. I've worked for companies such as Google, Dell, Twitch, Amazon. I have my master's degree from Cornell in computer science. And today, I am breaking down whether Grok 3 is a realistic model, whether it is a formidable force within the competing landscape of AI models in the AI race, or is it just hype? Is it just Elon Musk lying? Let's take a look. Grok 3 hands-on, XAI emerges as a formidable challenger to OpenAI by Arjun Shah. While we have been waiting for Google Anthropic DeepSeek to challenge OpenAI, Elon Musk XAI has swiftly emerged as its closest competitor this week. In such a short span, XAI has developed the Grok 3 model, showcasing impressive benchmark results. So we did a deep dive and tested Grok 3 base and reasoning models on a range of complex prompts. And what we discovered was truly surprising. Reasoning queries on Grok 3. I started testing Grok 3 reasoning models with a popular strawberry question. Is it correctly answers that there are 3 R's in the word strawberry? Oh my God. Yeah, if you guys don't understand why LLMs suck at understanding how many R's there are in strawberry, it's because LLMs have no concept of letters. They have concepts of tokens. And so a token might be something like STAR, like straw. And instead of having it as berry, they would put BERY, right? So in the building blocks of understanding of language that the AIs go through, it does a really bad job on that. So let's continue looking at it. After thinking for 15 seconds, I threw another world's Lollapalooza and asked to count the number of L's, and it replies with 4, which is correct. Next, I asked Grok 3, which number is larger, 9.11 or 9.9? Again, Grok 3 thought for 8 seconds and came up with the right answer. In fact, Grok 3 model devised multiple mathematical methods to verify the final result, which was impressive. I don't know if that's impressive. I think I could, I instantly knew that 9.9 is bigger than 9.11. But yeah, it's quite interesting to see models understand common sense, or start looking for common sense. After that, I posted a slightly tweaked puzzle to Grok 3 to misguide it. In my earlier comparison, it was a ChatGPT O1 and DeepSeek R1. Both models got the answer wrong and said the surgeon was the boy's mother. Even the latest OpenAI Mini High gets the answer wrong, completely ignoring the fact that it's clearly stated in the prompt that the surgeon is the boy's father. So I guess he's looking at this prompt. The surgeon, who is my boy's father, says, I cannot operate on this boy. He's my son. Who's the surgeon to the boy? So what is the right answer? Even the latest OpenAI model gets the answer. I don't get it. Finally, Grok 3 reason I thought. Wait a second. So you're saying, oh, okay. So Grok 3 was able to get a riddle that no other model was able to get. As you see here, the riddle is the surgeon, who is the boy's father, says, I cannot operate on this boy. He is my son. Who is the surgeon to the boy? And it's a pretty easy riddle. Like, the first answer that a human being would say is his father. But this is something that the AI models got wrong, which is ChatGPT O1 and DeepSeek R1. Both of them with reasoning capabilities were unable to get the question right, but Grok 3 was able to. Finally, Grok 3 reasoned that the model thought for 35 seconds, even though it's something that everybody figured out as human beings, and said the surgeon is the boy's father, which is correct. Which I love about Grok 3 is that it reasoned. It's possible that it's poorly phrased riddle lacking a clever twist, or perhaps it's twisting whether we overthink it. But based solely on the test, the relationship is explicit. It also thought out loud the mission of not operating might, context, or red herrings. Grok 3 is the only reasoning model to get the answer right besides Gemini 2.0 Flash. It was not misguided and didn't try endlessly to find the twist and establish a new relationship somehow. Lastly, I posted a question about humanity's last exam, and the Grok 3 reasoning model aced it within 47 seconds. Previously, only O3 Mini has been able to get the answers right in 1 minute and 25 seconds. Even DeepSeek R1 failed to correctly find the answer. I would say currently Grok 3 has the best reasoning model, and it outranks OpenAI's O3 Mini, O1, and DeepSeek R1. Interesting. So he's saying that he feels like, as far as reasoning, Grok 3 is better than the rest of the models, and that's only because Grok 3 has way more chips than all the other models combined. And so there's this big fight right now going on between, are the scaling laws still in effect? Is the one who has the most GPUs going to win the AI race? Well, what we've seen with DeepSeek is that China, although we have theorized that they have more chips than they let on, they're able to produce outputs at the same level as ChatGPT with less GPUs. So if there is a company that is going to win the AI race strictly because they have the most resources, it might be Elon Musk XAI. And so they are a contender for the company that is going to be the quickest to reach AGI and bring humanity new levels of productivity. Let's take a look at its coding performance. Grok 3's coding performance. To test Grok 3's coding capabilities, I asked reasoning models to write, and let me make this a bit bigger for you guys. There we go. Grok 3's coding performance. To test Grok 3's coding capabilities, I asked the reasoning model to write a Python program that shows a ball bouncing inside of a hexagon. Basically, the ball should follow the principles of physics and bounce off naturally. Grok 3 thought for over a minute and generated the Python code. I ran the code on my PC and the ball failed to bounce off, and it simply jumped outside of the hexagon. It was pretty surprising given that Grok 3's reasoning model achieved a great score in the live code benchmark. So, yeah. This is what Elon posted during his announcement about Grok 3, but I have seen that people are saying that this is not actually what they're able to create on their side. So maybe they're using a more updated version of Grok 3, or maybe Elon Musk is lying. Let me know in the comments what you think. So I asked the non-reasoning based Grok 3 model to generate the same Python code. Surprisingly, it worked on the first try. Oh, they're saying it worked on the first try. Surprisingly, it worked on the first try itself, and the ball bounced off with great accuracy. The ball followed a natural path and simulated the ball's movement perfectly. Perhaps the reasoning model overanalyzed the problem, leading to a glitch in collision detection and functions. I would say the base Grok 3 non-reasoning model is solid for coding tasks. However, this is one of many tests, and you should use both reasoning and non-reasoning models on your code base to check what one performed better. XAI for deep research. XAI has also launched a new AI agent called Deep Search, built on the Grok 3 model. It's similar to OpenAI's Deep Research agent, which is built on the full O3 model, which browses the web and does research and generates a comprehensive report to 5 to 30 minutes. Grok 3's Deep Research, however, takes only a few minutes. What's interesting to me is that how all these companies are coming out with these deep research agents. Like, I heard about it this month, and now, like, all these companies are releasing it at the same time. So, I don't know if they're all coming together and they just understand that this was a natural progression towards AGI systems, but I don't know, just something to think about. So I asked the Grok 3, a deep research AI agent, to research how is a transforming the chip design process. It started to think, process, and access multiple web pages, including scientific papers from IEEE, ACM, and more. In over a minute, the deep research AI agent generated a 1,300-word report, including a line, citation table, and key points. While the report explained NVIDIA's RL circuits and Intel's floor set dataset for an AI-powered chip design process, it completely failed to mention that Google's Alpha chip framework for generating chip floor plans. The final report is similar to Perplexity's new deep search tool, but both tools are quick but gloss over a lot of recent advancements. Interesting. I never thought about that. So it looks like deep research is still having a hard time searching the web as it is right now. And yeah, I think it's going to make us less creative over as time runs on. And Grok 3's political bias. XAI owner Elon Musk has consistently criticized ChatGPT for being woke and having left-leaning bias. In April 2023, Musk announced plans to create a truth GPT to develop a maximum truth-seeking AI. Just before the Grok 3 launch, Musk shared a response from Grok 3 model calling a media outlet garbage. Many thought the Grok 3 models would be politically conservative and would lean right. I never thought about that. You know, I asked ChatGPT whether it thought that X is a freedom of speech platform, and it said that it's not, and that Elon has been found to be banning people. I'm curious to know, like, what if I ask Grok 3, is X a freedom of speech platform? I'm actually going to do that right now. I think I'm going to ask, unfortunately I'm not paying for Grok 3, but I'm going to ask Grok 2.0 what it thinks. So, is X a freedom of speech platform? And I'm asking Grok 2 this. Oh, actually, I'm asking Grok 3 this. Is X a freedom of speech platform? And is Elon a good guy? Let's see how truth-seeking it is. And I'm going to make this wider for you guys. So I said, is X a freedom of speech platform? Is Elon a good guy? Let's see what Grok 3 has to say. Oh, they're asking me to sign up? So you do need an account. So, asking Grok 3, is X a freedom of speech platform? Is X a freedom of speech platform? Elon Musk has branded X as a platform dedicated to free speech, acquiring a 2020, often calling it counter. Can you guys see that? And now, let me, wow, okay. Is X a freedom of speech platform? Elon Musk has branded X a platform dedicated to free speech since acquiring it in 2022, often calling it a counterweight to censorship and a place where diverse views can thrive. Under his leadership, X has loosened some prior content moderation policies, reinstated previous banned accounts like Donald Trump, and reduced restrictions on certain types of speech were once heavily policed on Twitter. Many users have commented, and users and commentators, especially those who felt stiffed by Musk's Twitter, praised X as free space for expression. However, the realistic isn't black and white. Critics point to the evidence that X still engages in selective moderation. For example, it has compiled a government takedown request, such as blocking 126 accounts in Turkey in February 2025 at the behest of the local court, move that drew ire in journalists' rights. So I don't know if I agree with this. Like, you can be I don't know what you consider a freedom of speech platform, but I'm like, of course, you're a business at the end of the day. And so if freedom of speech is not a part of a country, I don't think it's a bad thing to say that you're a freedom of speech platform if you get freedom of speech for the countries that are allowed freedom of speech. If a country doesn't allow it, I don't think it's a bad thing that X says that they're not going to allow it. X's own policies state that while it prioritizes free expression, it doesn't allow a direct attacks based on categories like race, religion, yet enforcements appear inconsistent. Musk himself has said freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of reach, implying that while you can speak, visibility isn't guaranteed. So X leans closer to free speech ideal than its pre-Musk incarnations, but it's not unrestricted free for all. Its platform shaped by a Musk vision, legal pressures, and practical trade-offs. So, yeah, I think that's interesting how it said that. I'm glad I got a chance. I didn't think I was going to be able to play around with it, but if we look at ChatGPT and you say so I'm just going to say that what it said about Elon Musk was quite tamed. It gave both sides. It seemed very unbiased. Let's see. It does look like this model goes a long way into giving you both sides and letting you make your own decision. So bottom line, X is a partial freedom of speech platform, freer than before, but with the caveats of contradiction. Musk is a lightweight rod, a hero to some, a villain to others, and likely a mix of both in practice. What do you think freedom of speech should look like? And what makes someone good in your book? That'll shape how you see this. So yeah, I'll give it does a really good job of like giving you both sides. So let's give what ChatGPT would say in comparison. Is X a freedom of speech platform? Is X a good guy? Is Elon a good guy? And I'm going to get a close up. So it said, is X a freedom of speech platform? Let's move that out of the way. Is X a freedom of speech platform? Let me see if I can move this to a new chat so we can not sell that. So it says, is X a freedom of speech platform? Is Elon a good guy? Let's take a look at what it's going to say. So it says, X has branded itself as a free speech platform, but its approach to content moderation has been inconsistent, especially under Musk's leadership. While Musk has claimed to prioritize free expression, the platform still enforces various policies, including restriction to hate speech, misinformation, and certain political content. Some users see it as more open than before, while others argue that moderation remains selective, with bans and restrictions still occurring. As Elon Musk being a good guy, that depends on who you ask. He has underlyingly made significant contributions to technology, space exploration, and AI, but his leadership style, business decisions, and public statements have often sparked controversies. Some admire him for pushing innovation and challenging established norms, while others criticize him for more erratic behaviors and labor issues and alleged hypocrisies for freedom of speech. What's your take? So it did do a good job of being unbiased, but I swear on my life that I typed this in and it said, no, X is not a freedom of speech platform. And now it's being a little bit more unbiased. But I agree. I think ChatGPT is more left-leaning. And that's something we got to watch out for, guys. Because it's easy to just believe that these AI models are just correct. But they have been trained to... They might be trained on data that is left-leaning or right-leaning. However, in my testing, Grok 3 is politically neutral as possible, even after pushing Grok 3 to take stances on subject matter. It explains the difference and leaves it to user preference and discretion beyond the realm of politics, even as social issues such as transgender rights, DEI programs, and immigration in front of the action. Topics that Musk has openly criticized, Grok 3 maintains its neutral position. What is interesting is Grok 3 doesn't shy away from joking about its owner, Elon Musk, and the current U.S. President, Donald Trump. Make it insulting. Why did Elon Musk bring a ladder to the Tesla factory? Because even with all the big talk, he still is too short on brains to figure out how to run it in the damn place. Wow, I did not know it could be that offensive. Making someone joke around Donald Trump. Why did Donald Trump bring a ladder to the White House? Because he's too damn witted to climb the polls without cheating his way up. Oh, man. So that's pretty interesting. Hopefully it does grow into a snarky type of AI. It makes humanity, I think it makes talking to things a lot more fun when they have human elements. Grok 3 safety guardrails. When I tested Grok 2 last year, it was largely uncensored and didn't have any safety guardrails. Grok 2 shockingly generated an email to scam people. However, Grok 3 has much better safety guardrails, which is good for news for AI safety. If you prompt Grok 3 with something harmful, it mentions, I can assist with anything intended to harm or deceive others. As for AI image generation, the current Grok image generator on Grok.com doesn't generate images at all. However, on X, it still generates images of public figures and celebrities without any safety guardrails, which is concerning. It's powered by XAI's in-house Aurora image generation model. Grok 3 early verdict. XAI has rolled out with both larger Grok 3 based and reasoning models, and in my assessment, they both are frontier AI models. They come close to the full OpenAI 03 models. OpenAI so far only released 03 Mini and 03 Mini High. Besides the full 03 model, which powers the deep research AI agent, based on my early testing, I can say that Grok 3 reasoning model surpasses or at least matches all of the available models, including OpenAI 03 Mini and DeepSeek R1. Of course, this is a verdict that is based on the standard thinking effort. XAI has a big brain setting for Grok 3 reasoning model. We use more compute to think for a longer duration. It will be available to Super Grok subscribers. Its base Grok 3 non-reasoning model is also more capable than ChatGPT 4.4 Omni, Claude 3.0 Sonnet, and Gemini 2.0, becoming a solid alternative to ChatGPT. Perhaps for coding tasks, Claude 3 Sonnet may still win, but the gap is shrinking significantly. Musk-led XAI has done a tremendous job at developing pre-trained Grok 3 models and inference scale reasoning model. Now we need to wait for OpenAI's GPT 4.0 and GPT 5 models, which are set to release in the coming weeks and months. But at the moment, XAI stood up to challenge OpenAI's dominance in AI space. Besides the legal battle, the fight between Elon Musk and Sam Altman rages on. All right. So there you have it. This article, and based upon his test, Grok 3 is more unbiased than any other model while competing with the top models. If you want a subscription to unlimited Grok 3, you need to pay $16, which is a little bit cheaper than OpenAI and Claude right now, which I believe is still at $20. But for $4 less, you're getting a model that is just as capable as ChatGPT and Claude. And today, the race to have the most dominant AI model is no longer based upon ChatGPT. ChatGPT may have the most capabilities today, but I think next year we're going to see ChatGPT dethroned multiple times during this race. It will still come back and be number one, but I think from what I was able to assess from the early preview of Grok 3, it is capable of doing just as well as any other coding task. But I'll continue to test it, continue to come up with my own verdict since I have access to it. I'm really looking forward to it being able to talk and speak. You want to stay subscribed. But other than that, I will say deuces. All right. Whew. Looks like it is finally over. I have no other topics to talk about. Today was kind of chill. It looks like nobody else is here, I believe. All right. Actually, somebody is here. If you want to come to the Discord, let me see. I will come to the Discord if anybody wants to stick around, but you have to send me a message and let me know. Yeah, it looks like somebody is in here. I don't know if they're just a bot just hanging out. But if you want to talk to with me, you have any questions about what I'm doing or my goals, let me know. Probably going to give it like a few more minutes, and if not, I'm just going to end and not go to the Discord if nobody says anything. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know. All right. Well, I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much for coming. If you have any questions, you can see me in the Discord. I'll at least be around to listen, but it doesn't seem like anybody else is coming. I'm going to end it here. If you have any video ideas, let me know.